Hi, you guys. Good morning. I wanted to go over this gentleman, Yang Jiechi, who is the top diplomat in the U.S. China summit in Alaska. I don't know if you guys watched this. I think I posted a little bit of it before, but it's pretty profound, the things he's saying. And we got Antony Blinken, who's now the U.S. Secretary of State. I worked for his daughter, Carol Ann Blinken, aka Carol Ann Emkies or Emkies, and it was not normal. It was very acrimonious, and they both came out swinging, really. So what I found interesting is that the version I found didn't have subtitles. We've got two very well spoken translators on the scene, and they talk about what they're saying, but I'm going to cover a lot in this video, and I just wanted to go over Yang Jiechi's comments about America in direct attack of Anthony Blinken's attack on China. And, our own backyard is not clean. We are dirty, and we are stealing intellectual property rights from American citizens, right and left. People here who are kept in captivity under BLM, provided for public entertainment, public use. That's disgusting. It really is. So let's watch some of this stuff. Down. So I'm just going to guide you to this video. I want you to watch it because the way these two are packaging a story to make America look, totally scot clean, which we're not. We're not. If anyone watches my channel, or any of the channels reporting on any of the human rights violations or the way they're hidden in other countries, many of the officials in these other countries, like this gentleman, know exactly what crimes against humanity we're up to in America, how those crimes are hidden through adoptions, how human slavery is still existing, under the 13th Amendment. He knows all of this. And I feel, and this is just an opinion, and I just feel China has been unfairly kind of targeted as the bad guy, because people were starting to wake up and were starting to notice that there are vast human rights violations in America, vast deprivations of conscience in America. Where if you look at BLM, that document I showed you, they're talking about open hunting season on an elk, right? They call females being held as slaves for castration. And I don't know what they do. Are they making new children out of these, or are they making opiates from the ingredients? They're calling us wild horses. They're calling us dead flowers. They're calling us elks, right? Claiming that BLM has the right to own public land and then turn that land over for public use, where the person owning the land, the actual person itself, is getting bullied by federal agents and state agents relentlessly, meaning they have no rights in America. And I think this is important for you guys to watch, but I mean, I haven't been able to find the one oftentimes I've reported on a lot of things that got taken down from my channel, or just they're almost impossible to find. Things that, if I say them, my channel will get a strike or get taken down. So I have to be very careful about what I'm saying. So I'm talking around a subject without saying it directly. Because if you talk about any of these things that are talked about here in the US-China summit, why is this? I mean, I've looked on here. There's nothing on here where I can turn on captions. I've looked and looked. There's no place to do it. If you guys know another way to do it, I mean, I think you usually just go here and you turn on captions. But the person putting out the video, Shanghai, I think Shanghai Media Group, I implore you, if you're watching me report on you, please turn on your captions so we can see exactly what this gentleman is saying, because, we've all seen the movie Lost in Translation. We don't want to miss a word that this gentleman is saying. Okay, I'm going to show you this again. She's going to translate everything he just said. I just want you guys to pay attention. And the other channel I've been watching is Sky News Australia. Oh my God. Oh my God. The coverage there, the things they say that we're being censored from saying. God bless Sky News Australia. All right. I want you guys to watch this.
We have managed to end absolute poverty for all people in China. And we hope that other countries, especially the advanced countries, will make similar efforts in this regard.
Exactly. Look at your own back door. Look at the homeless situation in California. When you know what happened to me, through a false adoption, where they fabricated a bunch of false immigration documents. And there's a nurses organization I just found out about called Kentucky Nurses Association, where they're organizing adoptions, and they're calling the people dogs. And I mean, it's a very sinister plot over here. And you look at the homeless people, and you can't call them lazy, or, you don't know what they were up against. Maybe they had filings against them that were false, or powers of attorney in their name with their signature on it where they couldn't get a fair shake. There are all kinds of reasons people are homeless, but if you're not taking care of your own people on your own, I mean, I'm in the jurisdiction of of the United States of America, treated as a slave, you guys. And this is it's very important to start, get your eyes open to the world stage is watching, and many of us here in America are being censored from really speaking about these things, with full intelligence, because if we do, we get, we can be accused of, spreading false news. So no opinion is allowed if it's not going with status quo. And I think that's a shame, because the most intelligent people that find out about this and are able to present factual documents, and they're the ones that get targeted, right? And that's not to, America needs to clean its own house before going after China or anybody else. I really believe that's true. So that's just my opinion, right? And what we do with foreign policy here is absolutely outrageous. Now, this is, one person's opinion about what's going on with Biden. I recommend you go over to Sky News Australia, because for some reason they don't get censored. like we do here. And, I said to you, there's a lot of problems that I don't want to talk about, because if I do, the channel gets taken down. And he's showing, there's a stumble. We got Biden falling down the steps of Air Force One. I don't know if you guys have seen this. We have him, making some faux pas, but I really believe he's got like some kind of earpiece where they're feeding him information, and then he speaks it wrong, and this guy just calls out every single thing. It's hilarious. You guys have to watch it. Alan Jones he's just a fantastic reporter, saying what's on the rest of the world's minds. So, and they're saying like, why when Biden falls is it given like 15 seconds of news coverage, but when Trump, I guess, was walking slowly, I mean, he wears a lot of, protective gear because, Trump does, which, could cause him to walk slowly. But it was given 22 minutes. I mean, he goes through the details. You just need to see it. You need to see it for yourself. Okay, I'm going back to the summit. Again, this wasn't a normal summit. They were calling into question the national character of America and China and human rights violations of each nation, and also talking about the pandemic. And I really want you guys to see this.
And China's military buildup in the South China Sea. And from
Yang Jiechi, the top diplomat, criticizes the U.S., the human rights record of the U.S. It's pretty new, and it was really very aggressively. I see it as a paradigm shift. They want to be also self-sufficient.
But that's the point. They know what goes on. All the diplomats know what America is doing. And I think that you need to open your eyes globally and look at all of the pictures. This is so weird. On each channel I go to cover this, this talk between Beijing and America, it'll say Al Jazeera is funded in whole or in part by the Qatari government. I mean, this woman is very smart, and she's from Newsweek, Melinda Liu. Should listen to her a little bit.
Interest to think that. I think some of the smaller countries around the periphery of China are concerned about how it's going to play out.
So U.S. accuses China of unfair trade practices, intellectual property theft, and trade barriers. That's what the U.S. is doing to these people held as slaves through the BLM. So I don't see how somebody doing it to people on their grounds, in their jurisdiction, within their jurisdiction, can go accusing another country of the exact thing that they're doing, unless it's, a smoke and mirrors opposition.
Very, very serious disagreements. What is there to persuade Chinese officials that 4 years from now, come another presidential election in Washington, there might be a whole nother Trump-like turnaround and everything gets upset and has to start all over again? And that cannot be ruled out. I'm not saying Trump himself would come back, but the political dynamic that created him has not gone away.
I think that's extremely important to remember, is that there is, there's political unrest in America because of these human rights violations and other things that we see happening in our own communities. I mean, if you drive through Los Angeles and you saw the tent cities and the people living on the streets, and you're like, what is Eric Garcetti doing about it? What is Gavin Newsom doing about it? But it's really, we were deigned a manufacturing city with the military years and years ago under Eric Garcetti's rule. And being a military city means the vast deprivation of rights in California, of many, many Californians, not just me, not just, the intellectual property theft that they're doing to Americans every day. But in California specifically, if you drive through our streets, and we have one of the most beautiful states, and the homeless issue, I mean, if I even went down to show you what it was like in, the problem with the tent cities downtown is that many people hide out down there. They don't want to be filmed. And I want to give them that respect. I don't want to go film how they are living down there, but you would see that there is a vast issue of where the money is going, and if you look up these unclaimed property records in California, money is going directly into Eric Garcetti's pocket over and over again from banks. And I mean, he's taking money hand over fist for these crimes against humanity. And I'm sure he's not the only politician doing it. But I'm saying, the political dynamic that created Trump is not gone. It is still here. And, we're watching Biden, and, Biden's going after, what he believes to be bullies on the world stage, while the government here is the biggest bully on the world stage. So here, this is how to spell the name, talking back to Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, who knows, I know he knows that they're keeping children as slaves on American soil. And when I say children, I mean people through this false immigration fraud that, these adoption societies are doing, where they're pretending the child is from a foreign nation. So the child is always deprived rights to be an American citizen, and also deprived of growing up. They're kept at the age of 2 or 3 or whenever they were, whenever they're brought here through the Kentucky Nurses Association. So there's many, many different associations that do this kind of work, where they're keeping children as slaves under BLM. Again, when I say BLM, I'm referring to Bureau of Land Management, and the people on my channel have tried to explain that they think it's the same thing, and I just, all I know is Bureau of Land Management is holding people as slaves through false guardianships under the AIEA and Kentucky Nurses Association, where they marry them off, because you can't become a citizen, I guess, if you're underage, but you can get married. That doesn't make any sense. All right, so let's listen to him really quick on a couple of things.
The United States is the champion in this regard. That whether it's the ability to launch cyber attacks or the technologies that could be deployed, the United States is the champion in this regard.
Secretary Blinken laid out many of the areas of concern, from economic and military coercion to assaults on basic values. These are the concerns that are on the minds of the American people.
Well, I guess, there's another thing, there's another thing Yang Jiechi said, is that you two are speaking for the U.S. government. You're not necessarily speaking for the U.S. people. not speaking for the world. And I think that's true. They're speaking for the U.S. government status quo, not, and all you have to do is look in his backyard for crimes against humanity under his daughter, Carol Ann Blinken, if you don't believe me. That's it.